britische Band Everything hätte eigentlich letzten Dezember in der Schweiz spielen. Sie haben aber leider müssen absagen. Heute sind sie da mit Foles auf Tour und wir fragen mal, wie es ihnen geht. Guys, Everything,
oh.
how are you doing?
Good, yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm fine. You should have played in Switzerland last December, but you had to cancel the show. What happened?
This is the first question.
Oh, no,
You can apologize now.
I don't even remember what.
Apologise.
Oh, can you?
No.
This is yeah. Anyway, we do apologise. There were. It was a travel problem. We worked out that we had to be back in the UK for something, and that if we were going to be as far away as Switzerland as on the bus, then it was going to take us too long to get back, and we had to just postpone.
So problem with
one of the
schedule
reasons we wanted to do this show is because we unfortunately had to cancel in December.
Yeah.
So it's good to be back in Switzerland anyway, and sorry about that.
Ihnen tut es leid, am letzten Dezember müssen die Show canceln, weil sie ein Problem hatten mit dem Terminkalender. Aber sie freut sich sehr, dass sie jetzt heute da sind mit Foles. You're touring with Foles. How's it going so far?
Great. They're very. We toured with them before, and they're friends of ours now, and they're very nice to us, and their crowds are very nice to us, and I think they understand us as a band. And we've only done one show on this tour so far, but it just feels like a really good combination of bands, you know, and nice big venues. Because in Europe we don't play massive venues ourselves, but because they're a big band, it's good for us, you know, so we enjoy it.
Sie haben sehr viel Spaß mit Foles bisher auf der Tour, spielen vor grossem Publikum, vor vielen Leuten, was ihnen mega viel Spaß macht, und sie haben es mega gut mit Foles. If you're looking back on your last album, Arc.
Oh, that was the one before. That was last album was Get to Heaven.
Yeah,
oh,
the previous. Sorry, yeah, of course, the previous album, Arc. If you look back on this time, were there things that you would do different if you look back on this time, and that you did different now that you produced Get to Heaven?
I think at the time, you know, it's like anything in life. You do what you feel is the right thing at the time, and it was the right record for us to make at the time. And then now on Get to Heaven, the most recent, it was kind of a reaction to that album, but Arc was a reaction to Man Alive. So it's just kind of like we always try to just keep moving things around and moving on and not repeating ourselves. So no, we're proud of it, and it's got some great moments on it. I think we enjoy playing Cough Cough Kimasabi all the time, and Don't Try, yeah.
Also wenn Sie zurückschauen auf Ihr letztes Album, also nicht das Album, sondern das letzte Album, dann finden Sie, haben eigentlich dort genau das Album gemacht, das zur Zeit passt, was Sie dort machen wollen. Aber natürlich verändert sich immer wieder, wenn neue Sachen reinbringen und immer wieder einen Schritt weitergehen. Now you once said that you don't want to be another band with white men with guitars. I read that about you. You do have guitars, you are white man. What makes you different from the other bands with guitars?
Like, when we first said that, and it was like 2008, and we were kind of coming off the back of a really sort of boring, lumpy kind of indie music that was all over the UK at that time, and it was.
You're talking about bands like Arctic Monkeys?
No, they're a good band. It's all of the stuff that comes in their wake.
Landfill Indie.
Landfill Indie, as it was called. Yeah. And it was very disposable and very generic, and much more about selling leather jackets and jeans than it was about music or art or experimentation of any kind. And we were really pissed off with it by the end. But, you know, ostensibly we came from the same mould. We were the same age, and we were if you put us on a stage, we looked like one of those bands. And that's part of the reason that we started to dress differently as quickly as we could. And actually the whole music industry changed as well. You know, Foles were kind of simpatico with that at the outset. They were channeling a lot of the same sort of influences that we were, a lot of kind of American math rock stuff that they were into, we were also into, and we didn't see why we couldn't combine that with a kind of pop sensibility. And they were kind of clearing the way for us, actually, I think, in a lot of ways, and they really helped to put the spotlight back on more experimental guitar-based music, as well as the kind of stodgy pork pie hat stuff that went before it.
Eben Everything haben mal gesagt, sie wollen keine Band sein, wo einfach ein paar weisse Typen mit der Gitarre sind. Und das ist aus einer Zeit entstanden, wo die englische Gitarrenmusik so ein bisschen langweilig und immer das Gleiche war. Da haben sie sehr früh probiert, irgendwie anders zu sein. Und die Foles, mit denen sie auf der Tour sind, haben wir auch so ein bisschen den Weg vorbereitet und so ein bisschen Einflüsse reingenommen aus Math Rock und viel amerikanische Einflüsse. Also Foles haben da wie sich einen Weg vorbereitet. Now, if you're looking at the latest album, Get to Heaven, when I listen to the lyrics, they're sometimes really sad, and the music itself, it's sometimes there's a lot going on. If not to say maybe sometimes for my ears a little bit too much. It's kind of a little bit overload. Why did you decide to go this way?
To some extent, I think because we always have done. We've always been about extremes, I think, and there's always been the music's always been quite busy, and we'd like to strike a balance between stripping that back but not losing the point and not losing the originality of it. And as for the lyric stuff, I mean, you say it's overwhelming, and I think that's how we felt about the world at that point in time in 2014 when we were writing the record and we'd just finished touring, and we were suddenly more conscious of the outside world for the first time in a while, and there were some really horrendous things going on around the world and continue to be. And being
especially
more exposed to it because we weren't living in the touring bubble meant that it inevitably found its way into to what Jonathan was writing, and that sense of confusion and as you say, overload is something that we wanted to get across.
What specific themes are you talking about that are going in the world that were influencing the record?
Events, you know. I mean, everything was happening in Syria and is happening in Syria, and
it's not really like a typical thing for a British
No.
rock band.
It's dangerous ground.
it's dangerous ground. Yeah.
Getting political, you know, then you know it could be preachy. It could, you know, you don't want to come across as kind of having a message or whatever. It's not really about that for us. It was more about the feeling of being in the world at that time, especially in Britain, which is you know, it's kind of a you know, it's quite a powerful nation, really, sort of, for the size, you know, for the size of it, and there's kind of a responsibility on Britain to try and be
safeguarding multiculturalism, and also to, I don't know.
And we're very lucky in lots of ways. We're a very well, you know, developed country, been around a long time, so we have no excuse not to be progressive and lead the way on these issues. So you kind of feel that responsibility, not necessarily that we have to do anything, but like with our politics in our country, you know. It's quite a you can kind of, it's quite a tangible thing. You can kind of feel it in the air, I think, that when these events are happening, that we need to step up and help in some way.
And despite that, there are a lot of political factions in the UK that are growing, sort of. I mean, they're given too much attention by the media, but there is a sort of expansion of the far right now that say that we shouldn't be involved in foreign policy and we shouldn't help refugees and immigrants.
Let's talk about it just in a second. Auf ihrem aktuellen Album haben sie zum Teil sehr traurige Lyrics, aber der musikalisch fast so mega viel geht ab, Overload, fast so zu viele Sachen. Und sie sagen, das ist wirklich einfach ein Einfluss aus dem Jahr 2014, wo einfach in der Welt so viel passiert ist, also was in Syrien passiert ist, hat sie sehr beeinflusst. Was ein bisschen untypisch ist für eine britische Rockband, dass sie sich mit diesen Themen beschäftigt, aber sie fühlen sich auch wie ein Stück weit verantwortlich für das, was in England passiert oder respektive wie sich England in der Welt verhalten. Eigentlich sehr gefährliches Territorium für eine Rockband, sobald man politisch wird. So, politics, especially in the Middle East, is something that finds a way into your music, or
well, the feeling of observing it definitely found, and the confusion that results in definitely found its way into the music.
Also eben die Politik im Mittleren Osten, aber eben auch das ganze Thematik mit Refugees, mit Flüchtlingen beschäftigt sie offenbar. One question about you, video Reptile. It's a very somehow disturbing video. You get shot like several times, every member of the band. How did you come up with that bloody idea?
It's
it's a big mess happening there.
There was a sort of inevitability about it by the time we got to that video, I think. I thought so much of the record is tied up in violence, and I think that we couldn't deny it by the time we made that album. That video, I mean. And we thought that it would be more artful, I suppose, to completely remove the sensationalism of the gun, the shooter, all that stuff. All of that stuff remains unseen, so you just see the sort of slow motion moment of impact. And that was really the only idea behind it.
Well, yeah, and I think Jonathan, who directs the video, I think he liked the idea of kind of someone being shot and still carrying on, and almost like it's not affecting them. It's not like we die, you know, but we are being kind of, I don't know, someone's trying to stop us, and we're having to kind of get through that, and that determination is quite, it was quite interesting to him, I think.
And that's sort of a theme in the song as well. Pulling through all the adversity is part of the song, part of the atmosphere of that particular song.
Yeah, it's quite a tense song.
In ihrem einen Video-Rap-Teil wird die Band so nach und nach verschossen oder erschossen, mit jensten Durchschlagslöchern und viel Blutspritze umeinander. Und sie haben gesagt, das ist eigentlich damals, als sie das Album geschrieben haben, wie so ein Must gewesen, so ein Video, wo so Gewalt so groß ist, zu produzieren. Aber eben, sie sterben nicht in diesem Video, sondern es geht wiederum auch, da weiterzumachen und das auszuhalten. Talking about another video for Regret, we see a religious, spiritual, ritual scene, which is also kind of disturbing, and of course, now it all makes sense, because religion was so important in that time. It still is important in the whole politics that's happening. Was that connected to that?
Abuses of power and deception, faith-based deceptions. But that was part of the sort of themes of the record.
That video too specific as to what he is, but especially what Jeremy's saying in Britain, there's the far right.
The rise of the charlatan, as we said.
We had an election, and UKIP and all these people were kind of coming through and being a lot more successful than anyone thought they would be. And
less successful as well in the end, which was very gratifying.
Media attention and all that, and it's kind of scary seeing how people thought they had the solutions to these problems, and when you have extreme problems, you get these extreme people with extreme answers, and people are sometimes attracted to that. So that's kind of what that video was getting at, I think.
Im Video zu Regret sieht man so ein religiöses Ritual, und sie sagen wirklich, das hat natürlich auch damit zu tun, dass Religion oder so Verführung in diesen schwierigen politischen Zeiten oft ein Mittel ist, um eben, Leute verführen, auf seine eigene Seite zu holen. Vor allem auch bei ihnen mit dem Fokus auf die rechte Extreme in England und die Politik. So we're happy that you came back after you had to cancel last time. What can we expect for tonight?
We feel quite kind of free doing support shows, especially when we're not in the UK, so we feel we have more license to mix the set list up a bit. So I don't know. That's the answer to your question.
Right. We'll see.
We are enjoying playing almost entirely songs from Get to Heaven though. And that seems to work for the people in front of us as well as the people on stage. And I think that's quite a rare thing for a band to find themselves in a position where the current album is also the one people want to hear the most. I don't think that happens very often in a career. So we're just enjoying that for the time being. So we're going to play the new stuff.
Cool, we're looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sie freut sich auf heute Abend, sie fühlt sich eigentlich mega frei, weil sie Vorband sind und ganz viele Sachen können ausprobieren, und sie wissen selber nicht, was passiert. Wir werden es sehen.